Greetings. Joint Science Broadcast. Land of the Unknown. So today, for tonight, is a message from Spirit. We're going to go back, continue with that. Regions of the universe, mirror realities. Fifth dimension is here. So we're going to tap into different. So this has been. Next Wednesday, I'll be uploading like the Spirit Collective. That went decent, always from them, but from the Spirit Collective went decent coming from them. But no, I've been doing it more individual beings now, and that's been different. It's been, I think, more productive. I'm not sure if that means anything, but going to more of the spirit realities, at least what they're willing to go into. Even they're kind of holding back. But I believe this is help healing them and us, understanding of them. Obviously, if they don't go into full details of their self, take what you can get. So we go also into through spirit, like reptilians, get their point of view. Reptilians, Palladians, Arcturians, Syrians, Anunnaki, etc. Yeah. So from a spiritual point of view, of course, that's just a small portion of it, but there's obviously more to it than that. So where things are going in the future overall, just ride the wave. Not worried, just ride the wave. Political energies have to be healed. Just basically just to concentrate on ourselves, peace with ourselves, peace with humanity. And for the truth to come out, however it needs to come out, is very important at this time. So, yeah, just the truth, human trafficking truth, all different types of truth. Continue with that, definitely. So, yeah, it's just all, you can say all truths, whatever truth is out there. So, all right, on to an update, and I have something to show. DesignTower.com, we have private sessions. We have a shop here. I'm on the 15th here. Some people I'm not. I'm at 13th still. So still same situation here. They have the webinar sign up. We have the social network they won't get kicked out of. The Rabbit and behind the scenes. Have that, and not done yet. So, oops. This is Robert Crumb. He's an artist. He wrote comics in the past, and still is. I'm not gonna show a lot of his stuff. You can look up on your own. Jeez, some of the stuff's crude already. Yeah. So, it's mostly adult type of stuff. But so the reason I'm bringing him up. Let's try to get a better picture up. The reason I'm bringing him up is he channeled his future wife or girlfriend wife. He channeled her name. He was drawing her before he even met her. You can say it's kind of looks like her. Well, real quick. Yeah, he was drawing her before he met her. And even channeled her name. And in his like friend circle, he channeled her last name, and his friends, he didn't know her. His friends knew her, and they talked to her. They told her maybe you should meet this guy because he's been channeling her energy for a while. He had no idea, so he met her, and I guess he ended up marrying her or something like that. So, give an aspect of how that works. So that was weirdness of the universe. So that was different. Not that anybody's that interested in something like that, but that was So, all right. Okay, we're going to go back into spirit. I'm not sure if anyone's even interested. I guess maybe they're more interested in the winning lottery numbers and things like that, which is fine. But this is basically a mirrored universe. Basically, it's other parallel realities that we're connected to. So I'll give you a different aspect on that also. So just gonna, yeah, this might be a little bit of a whopper for some people, but either way. Well, yeah, because there's parallel realities that are connected to us right now. So we're always going through different dimensions, different realities, and not many people are really thinking about it in that way, but it's time to heal. And yeah, because we're seeing alternative timelines that aren't always happening, especially in the politics realm. It's just, I'm never sure if it's that interesting to some people, but it's going on even if you're not just like, it's the engine that's going on even if you don't tap into it. So, all right. Okay, we're going to spirit beings, and that's where this goes. So, all right, blessings. All right. Greetings to you. This is Malachi from Spirit. Of course, there's a million different or a trillion different Malachis, but my name is Malachi. Yes, you're discovering the reptilian within yourselves. Yes, that doorway was open for you to dive more further into the human experience. So the reason why there's human and reptilian is so you can, yes, dive, so you can test the human even more. Humans and reptilians have been battling each other throughout history. We don't have to clear our throats here. Even Arcturians have had a lot of difficulties with reptilian beings, or Zeta beings, of course. So to bring, you can say a lot of this had to do with the Arcturians, to bring the human and reptilian, the feline, closer together into one unit, one body. Not just necessarily to battle, but to procreate, to create more of a new type of experience. Now, this has been done on other worlds, but not to this level. Usually when you take a reptilian and a feline and put it into one, usually it's all hell breaks loose. But the Anunnaki have been doing it for some time now. So your mirrored realities. So yes, you might. So the reason for the mirrored realities, why that's being brought up, is many of you are dealing with a difficult situation here, but there's also a positive reality somewhere else, is to help you through this. Now, those of you who are going through a positive experience here, most likely have another lifetime that's mirrored from this one. It's very hard. It's why you do this. Now, not everyone does this, but quite a few do this. Is because, like, when you're bringing a positive energy from this lifetime, it can help a challenging one in another. It's balance. It's the tools that you're receiving from this world that can help you with that other world, or vice versa. Sometimes you need 3 or 4 other lifetimes simultaneously happening to keep this one going, because you've been hit by so much. And some of you even create more lifetimes and more positive realities. I know it sounds a little bit maybe out there for some of you, but it's also there to keep you. And some of you might feel like you're doing something different. You need to move somewhere. You need to move from California to Kansas. And because there's another version of you in a place like, we'll just use it for example, like Kansas, or you move from a nice place into a militarized zone like your New York City war zone, Babylon, modern day Babylon, Yes, it's Babylon to a certain extent. So us from spirit, how? So yes, we are a little bit headstrong. Some of us can be arrogant, uh, disconnected from humanity. Well, that's what we're told about the human show, the movie, as you would call it. And a lot of us don't even believe it even exists. Even in spirit, a lot of us don't believe it. Well, when we hear that it's hard, we say it can't be that hard. And so even when we see it, we don't always believe it. We can connect to the vibrations. We don't always believe it until we incarnate into it's like, well, they weren't kidding, were they? So even in spirit, we're pretty headstrong. Now, not all spirit beings are like that, especially when you see what the archangels have been through. The angels are assisting your world, and it's up to the being. So some beings, some spirit beings can be very naive. I believe some of you are connected to it. And some of the times your known naivety is, not always from you. It's from your guides. And that can blend into your own perception of things. But guides can be overprotective also. Another reason why your aliens are not here. One of the reasons. A lot of it's also just overprotective in your relationship world, why you have not moved, why you have not gotten that new job. Some guides can truly interfere with that. And that's up to you when you have put a stop to it. Now, obviously, you might not see an instant stop to it. It all depends. If things don't change, it means you're there for a reason. If things do change, you're done with that, as you can see. That's not always the case for everyone, but some lessons, so usually you have like a drill sergeant guide that's there. Sometimes it's your main guide, sometimes it's not, to make sure that you don't lose track of what you're here for. And as you choose a desert reality, obviously your guides aren't always there to give you all the information all the time. Yes, it's difficult, but it seems like if you're in their position, you would do the same thing or even harsher to yourselves or to them. So it's just, you're all becoming better teachers overall. We do see a wider, more knowledge coming in for you to assess the situation, meaning Akashic record knowledge is slowly being activated across the earth for you to have a better viewpoint, meaning that you'll see your world much differently than you do already. Now, some might call this 5D. A lot of it's 4D knowledge, but it's up to you if you want to call it 4D, 5D. Some beings just like the vibration of 5D, even if they're current in 4D. It's a human thing. There's a lot you can learn from 4D. 4D still has a lot of knowledge there of complexities. Well, a lot of your aliens in 4D, and some of you are remembering 5D for various reasons. That's your comfort zone. That's where you can be a spirit guide being, an alien spirit guide. It's just where you feel that's your moment of bliss. 4D is very similar to where you're at now. Not exactly, but I don't know. It's some beings just like certain vibrations. It's like a pillow. It's like a comfort zone for some. Some of you would rather be in the war zone and see what's happening and then living in an area of bliss. Sometimes it's better just to be away from the fantasy land. Because 5D can be very fantasy land. It's a reality distortion field dimension. Now you can see what's happening here, or you can tune out. 4D, you're normally seeing what's going on. 5D can get kind of lost. It can. It doesn't always. It depends on the being. So we're giving you, yes, a different perspective. Yeah, so you're technically in, it all depends. Do you know what 5D is? You define it yourself. Let's put it that way. Well, 5D can be very similar to 3D. It's just you have a heightened understanding. I believe that's what many of you are going for, actually. heal the war, heal the physical as you become lighter, and just less drama here. I mean, there's drama, but there's different types of drama. Drama where you can grow but not feel imprisoned. Fourth dimension can be somewhat of a prison reality. It all depends on the reality you're in. But many of you are already, yes, bringing in that 5D energy to heal the timelines, to just have a better a physical reality as the physical begins to thin itself out. I believe many of you are feeling this currently today as we speak. So yes, we're going to go through, yes, some species here. Reptilian. First, of course. Well, they're the most aggressive. One of them, at least. Well, yeah, there's always more. There's the insect races can be. We're not going to go there. We're trying to keep this as positive as possible. Reptilian beings can be sometimes the most sophisticated beings in your universe, and also sometimes the most headstrong and even lost. So some of you might have had children or have children that are very kind of want their way. That's a reptilian idea system. Of course, it could also be a princess syndrome that some are going through also. Reptilians basically download information from other universes, and sometimes not always there for the use of others. Now, their universal appeal is basically for them to be rulers of this universe. Of course, as an ego, but somebody has to do it. Well, they feel like they can only do their decisions is always the right decision, even if it's the wrong decision. Who has not met somebody like that? Now, that's not always a reptilian vibration. I'll just give you a perspective of it. The Arcturians, yes, are spiritual magic beings. Now, they can do the best thing that's ever happened and sometimes the worst. They can create a reality, but they can also bring in unwanted guests, such as insectoids, reptilian beings, and really stir the pot up quite a bit. Here, they're taking experiments to a whole new level, as you can see. So I feel like many of you are going to start to see things more clearly. Your third dimensional block is coming to an end. Obviously, it's not ending as soon as many of you like it, but I believe many of you are feeling that blockage. Now, your spiritual development, there's two ways of looking at this. The timeline of future timeline, you might not be able to see that. That's blocked for various reasons, sometimes for the best. Or you can say most times for the best. Do you really need to see that? Isn't that important to you? There will be times when you can see it easily. Now, if you can see the future really easily, the future isn't worth seeing anymore. If you can see it, that makes it more interesting. So we're just going to put that out there. Well, I mean, it's like you've already read that story. So what's the point of experience if you already read it? So, but some of you are going to get vibes of the future, but that shows more fifth dimension energies are coming in. You're leaving time. You're leaving time. We don't need time anymore. That's what you're. So, if all of a sudden you see the future like without a problem, I imagine there's very few of you that do that. Many of you don't even exist in time. You're here in time. You don't see things in time. Now, that's a little bit coded there, but we'll just leave you with that. Your Palladian beings are, yes, here obviously for the progression of the human race, because that affects them greatly. Now, not to say that your human race is making them look bad, but in some cases, yes and no. It's giving them a lot of challenges. You're like that neighbor that can't seem to get it straight. It's like you're inviting all the people that no other worlds are like no better not to invite. So it's like a house party here, as you probably can see. And you have a lot of visitors that aren't leaving or at least making things easier. It's a house party that's been going on for thousands of years. And it's still here to decipher it. You have to be careful of how much they interfere. They do have a lot of reincarnations. I believe there's The Palladian is the most that are incarnated here through all alien species. Syrians are pretty high. Palladians the most. Your Arcturian are more in the leadership positions, sort of more like the spiritual leadership positions, but they don't like to look at it as a leadership position. But they're usually in the areas of magic. A lot of it is in Asia. Of course, we're pointing to Asia. It's probably that way, but it doesn't really matter. But it's in Asia normally. So, and they can be very headstrong, arrogant. A lot of your Arcturians are martial arts and things like that too. Where they're healing the reptilian side. Once you're Asian, now every country has an Akashic record connected to it. Africa, China, United States, and so on. Greenland. You're always pointing information, but when you're a Chinese, China opens up as a Akashic record. When you feel like you're on a trip, like a psychedelic trip, but you're not on psychedelics. That is China opening itself up more. They can open up the third eye very easily. They do kind of there already. Because they have kind of like a spell on the planet to keep it locked down. Well, they're opening things up, locking it down. China plays a big role in why you're not seeing what you'd like to see. Don't say blame China, but it's just part of the process. China is very spiritual. Even if they don't seem that way, they actually are very spiritual. It's just they're keeping the hypnosis continuing for now. But they are the ones who unlock it too. Yeah, don't put blame on them. There's no blame to anybody. It's just they're part of, their influence is everywhere. For good or for bad, it doesn't really matter. It's all in perspective there. But yes, your Palladian, to go back into that, you're developing their civilizations unlike anything they've ever seen before. Your world has upgraded their civilizations more than any human. Humans been more advanced from this world than any other, from what we can see from our perspective. Even more of your Orions. Orions took it to a new level. War advances the soul, like it or not, it does. It changes things. It stirs things up. You might not like war, but sometimes you need change. Now, there's different types. You don't always have to have war, but in some cases, this is kind of like a war universe. There's other ways of going about it, like having conversations. You can have a conversation for 10,000 years and maybe get somewhere with it. Or just have a war and have things done in a few years. It all depends. Notice how a lot of figures on the internet are talking a lot. Well, that's why alien species do that all the time. And that's why they don't always evolve. There is evolve. It all depends. But as you can see, when war happens, things start changing really fast, don't they? That's going to happen here. The talking is the healing. Yeah, you need all the talk you can get because you're dealing with a different type of war. You're here to figure things out. Yes, get your downloads. Your downloads, there's going to be major downloads where you're going to start seeing your reality so much differently than it is currently. And that is you bringing it into this reality. Like you see clean energy. Many of you have already seen that. And you'll see flying cars. You have some time for that. That's not necessary for your growth. You have some time for that. We'll go into the Syrians. The Syrians are usually magic beings. All your Middle East is filled with magic, unknown, mysticism, a lot of Arcturian, Syrian, just mystery. The Middle East, even Africa, is keeping the earth hidden from itself. Notice all the wars. A lot of these wars have to do with keeping history hidden. Just like Iraq with your stargates and all of it. It's just keeping confusion. So as your war ends, now you're trying to put the pieces back together. And that's what you're doing now. So in less talk of war and more of peace, peace is just putting everything back in order so you can just start allowing, a new type of Earth to come in. Yeah, maybe you're going more into space. Now that's going to be a place of new conflict, but a different type of conflict where teleportation and telepathy becomes even stronger because you need to be ready what's out there. And you're slowly preparing for that now. So this is like the ground crew Earth for you to go. There's going to be a time in your future, you have a long time for this. There'll be very few humans on the planet, but most of you will be out in space. So you'll still be Earth human, but you'll be traveling all over the place. You'll still have this DNA. It'll be much different in the future. Some of you will look feline, some of you will look Syrian, some of you will look blue, whatever it is that you choose. Green, YOLOs, you're allowing that to come through. But right now, you're just slowly identifying yourselves as a galactic being. So as more conversation of galactic energies comes through yourselves, so that's when the aliens become more. That's when the aliens feel more comfortable around humans, because they're not that comfortable around humans at this point. Some are. They're ready for you to act irrational. I mean, some of you will be peaceful, but majority are going to have questionable intentions there. It's obviously there's different points of view of this. As many are, well, the energy why it's being mentioned a lot is when they do appear, there will be calm on the earth, and that's the intention. As for tapping into your Anunnaki, a lot of them are in your leadership, but leadership and all across your world, but also part of your infrastructures, your money infrastructures, your city infrastructures. Anunnaki plays a big role. Just in the outline of it, you fill it all in. Now, Anunnaki, you can blame Anunnaki on all you want. Yeah, they're part of the blueprints of many things, including how the humans operate. Now, they're not alone in this. There's other beings involved, but Anunnaki kind of put their name on everything. So if you want to blame them, blame them. But there's no need for blame. Well, yes, they made the human here more functional in the body, because there was a time when the bodies were not going to last that long. Now, there's times when the bodies will last for 1,000 years. You didn't need that. But there's also a time when the bodies were not lasting very long. Like, you'd be lucky to hit 30. Now, obviously, in your past, I was like that. But before that, the bodies here were not, they're all over the place. So the idea was to get the body to be able to handle extreme situations, heat, cold. It just make it functional enough for it can at least last 100 years. Now, obviously, activating can last a lot longer, but you don't really need that. So there's a lot of Atlantean knowledge within you. That's an Atlantean Akashic record that's in you currently. A lot of your languages come from the Atlanteans. So Atlanteans are telepathic, but some of Greeks, Babylonians, a lot of Greeks wrote it down. So it's actually, Greek language is actually Atlantean language. Good luck on asking them that, because they're not here for obvious reasons. But your Egyptian came from Sirius. Yeah, your Egyptian is basically your modern human. Babylon was more Atlantean. That's why it's been forgotten. It was Babylon was like the garage of Atlantis. A lot of Babylon was in Africa too, but it's been lost. Not exactly, but a lot of the Babylonian energies were there, which is Anunnaki. Anunnaki had forts everywhere, or fortresses, however you want to call it. Now, a lot of humans are a lot taller than they are now. Some humans are 18 feet tall. I know you call them giants, but some are just extremely tall. Egypt shows that, for example. Yeah, the tall humans are normal for the past, and that wasn't really necessary either, but that was a phase that eventually phased out for various reasons. So while we're bringing this all to you as a Akashic record, basically we're saying that if you start seeing things differently, feel things differently, they shift, it feels like you're not in the world that you used to be. It's because that's true. Everything's always shifting second by second. Obviously difficult to see that second by, you don't need to. Focus on the plan ahead, what you need to do, what comes from your heart, what comes from your mind. the situation of the day. That's what matters most. Everything else, yeah, doesn't really matter. Your universe that matters. Who cares what the politics are? For example, presidency. You can think of a. I know that's a big deal for many. You can visualize an alien being there, a tall white being there, a reptile there. That would be humorous for some of you. For example, and you can take that and visualize that like you're in a society of different alien beings, like you live among them, which you already do. That'll help you also open up your sight of what's going on. It's like you create your own reality, right? Well, how many are doing it visually? You just, as you do it with your imagination, but your imagination is your Akashic record, your higher self. Is it really? It's you channeling, basically. So you create your own reality. What do you feel in your world? Now, some of the creative reality, obviously, they got the president that they're looking for. Presidency is a manipulation of the third dimension. It doesn't really matter. It's there as a figurehead for now, what people need, as eventually it will be dissolved into more of a council, but also you, the people, will feel like you're more involved. You feel like a government's there, but you're not part of it. I mean, you kind of do, but not really. The idea is for your consciousness to be, we won't call it government, we can call it council if you want, but it's basically you feel like your astral self, your energy is a part, your human consciousness is now talking to each other. Because the more of your energies are talking, your energies aren't really talking. They are talking to each other, but not really. If your consciousness begins to talk to each other, like government-wise, like you feel like you're there, you feel like just because you feel like you're talking to each other. Society, you talk to each other more in society too. It's like there's a wall between humans. Like you go to the grocery store, you just go do your thing. You can't say hi to everybody, but as humans energy-wise come closer together, that connects, that happens everywhere else across the world. Of course, that's going to take some time. But for government, to give you an idea of what that feels like, just think of like human consciousness is there in government. You can just think of like a facility, it's fine, like a temple. But think of all the energies there, and you're all talking. You don't always have to agree, but you're just connecting more. You're feeling like you have, what you're saying matters, and it goes into the consciousness. Right now, there's a lot of blockages because there's a lot of control. Because beings are here controlling society through government, as you can see. Well, you're here to break through that through energy, though. As you know, voice is a good, protesting works. A lot of there's anger in that. The idea is to do it with more peace of mind. It's all energy. Yeah. What your intentions are. You want just to release the controllers of the earth. That's key. So, and then eventually you might see them, possibly, if you feel like you need to. Yeah, the elite here are terrified. They're powerful, but only when people are scared of them. When you're not scared of them, you send them love. Obviously, they don't always care for that. Now, there's positive elites, and a lot of them feel like they're suffocating. Not by you, but by those that are controlling society. They feel like they don't have a voice. They're trying, but they get muzzled very easily, and they get stopped. And their story eventually will be told. But those that are controlling everything, yes, have a weak body. I mean, their bodies are kind of strong, but it's actually their health is weak because they're draining humanity's energy. It was adrenochrome, but they're draining that, but also draining the Earth's vibration. They're not, because they're forcing the service to self energies on humanity. So you're here to release them by acknowledging that it exists. Just how do you visualize the earth? How do you visualize future? And just eventually freedom will come through it. Freedom's not really here. It's here, but not as it could be. So and you'll get a more understanding of why things happen the way they do. Censorship. Oh, first, sometimes censorship is like timelines collapsing. It's like a bridge that was there is now broken. So, like with China has a censorship around it. Um, yeah, they're taking everyone else's timelines down, crushing timelines. They're stopping others from saying that won't last forever. Well, they're kind of scared of influences from outside. So, well, to give you why they go after Muslims, because their vibration. I think it's Muslims they go after. No, they're suppressing their vibration. Muslims are more freedom beings, and China's not really understanding it. Yeah, Muslim religions are more they just want to free humanity. I mean, yes, they're going through a lot of difficulties with their own religion, but they are technically here to free society. So it's not everybody gets along with each other. That's all. Sending you blessings. Hopefully, some of this is helpful. Yes, basically, as you unlock realities with your own vibrations, that's what the intention is here. Much love.